All right, this is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to be working on finding percents. And so we've been finding percents for markups and markdowns and doing the appropriate thing, adding or subtracting, whatever we need to do. But today we're going to look into some things that maybe are a little harder to do. It's harder to divide the numbers up evenly, and maybe the percents aren't just factors of 10, like 10%, 20%. They might be like 8% or 7%, something like that. So be a little more tricky today, and we're going to find out how we're going to be able to do that. Okay, so here we go. Percents. To calculate percent without using a model, so without having to use this little fella right here, what we're going to do is we're going to change a percent to a decimal and multiply by the original number. Okay, multiply by the original number. So 20% of 10. Now, in the past, what we've done is we've said on the bottom we have 0%, 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. We had all these percents on the bottom, and on the top we had the number, the total number. So in this case we have 10, and we want to divide 10 into 10 equal parts. We know 10 divided by 10 equals 1, so I can literally count from 0 up to 10 going by ones. And so 10% of 10 is 1. 20% of 10 would be 2, 30% would be 3, 40% would be 4, and so on and so on and so on. So if I wanted to find 20% of 10, I would know that it is 2. All right, but today what we're going to find out is how to do that without having to make this huge diagram every time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the percent to a decimal. And how to do that is this. If I have 20%, okay, 20%, or 20.0%, either way you want to think about it, I'm going to move the decimal place 2 spots to the left. Okay, and so now I have a new decimal of 0.200, or you could just even say 0.2, because the zeros at the end after a decimal are not relevant. They don't matter. They just mean nothing. Okay, 0.2 and 0.200 or 0.2000000, they're all the same thing. What I'm going to do after I change the percent is I'm going to multiply by the number of multiply 10. And if I type that in my calculator, 0.2 times 10, I'm going to find out that it is 2. And so I'm going to bypass all this chart work, all this labeling, these charts, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0.2 times 10 equals 2, and that is 2 is 20% of 10. Okay, so just a real quick thing, and you may use your calculators for this today. So that's good news. Take a look at another one here. Things that we've already done. Okay, let's take a look at the chart and compare it to how easy it is when we just multiply. It says there's 45 students, and we're going to have 100% down here. Okay, and 20% said they stay up past 10 p.m. How many stay up past 10 p.m.? Well, we need to figure out how much 20% is of 45. So now if I want to divide 45 into 10 equal sections, that's going to tell me 4.5 per. So 0, 4.5, 9, and see, this can be really annoying if I have to do this every single time. 22.5, 27, 31.5, 36, 40.5, and finally 45. And you know, this is an effective method of figuring this out, and it works fine for certain things, but it doesn't always work well for all the numbers. And we're going to find that out here pretty soon. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. So here's my sections, and I want 30% of 45. Or no, sorry, 20% of 45. So all of this guy right here, so I'm going to say that 20% of 45 is 9. I'm going to say we need to have 9. That's how many students stay up past 10. It's 20% of the 45, so 9 students out of the 45 stay up past 10 p.m. Now, if I want to just bypass all this chart work here, what I could do is this. I could change my percent to a decimal. And we just did 20%, but I can do it again, 20.0%. If you're concerned about where the decimal is, just put a 0.0 at the end. I'm going to move it 2 spots to the left, 0.200, or better yet, just 0.2. You don't need the zeros at the end of a decimal. 0.2. I'm going to times it by the original amount, 45. And when I multiply it in my calculator, or I can even do it here for you, you get 9.0, or just 9. So this is going to be way faster than us having to make a chart every time, but it represents the same amount. All right, and it's going to help us when there's some percents that are really hard to figure out. Let's look at one more that we've done before, and it says the dinner bill came to $25, and I'm going to leave a 15% tip. This is 100% right now. So let's divide this up like we have been. 2.5 divided by 10, oh, sorry, 25 divided by 10 equals 2.5. So I'm going to say each one of these could represent 2.5. Oh my goodness. That needs to be a 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, 20, 22.5, and 25. Okay. Now, if I want to know 15% of that, in this case, I would have to go, if this is 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, then I would need one section and then half of the next section. Oh man, that's going to be tricky for me to figure out. Halfway in between 2.5 and 5. Well, I can always revert back to saying, oh well, 2.5 plus 5 divided by 2. So 7.5 divided by 2, 3.75. That's actually halfway in between. So I'm going to say our answer should come out to be 3.75 by using a chart. But now let's just do it the easy way now. Okay, we don't really need this chart anymore, because what we can do is we can change 15% or 15.0%, either way, to a number by moving it 2 decimal places. 0.150, or you could even write 0.15 would be appropriate. I'm going to start with my new decimal for my percent as 0.15. I'm going to multiply what my total bill was times 25. And when you multiply 25 times 0.15, you get 3.75. And I'll do it longhand here for you so you understand what I'm saying. I'll multiply 5, 2, 12, 0, 5, 2, 5, 7, 3. 3.75. So you get the same thing whether you draw the picture or not if you change the percent to a decimal and multiply by the original number. So let's just practice a few without actually drawing a diagram. Okay, so here's our steps without using our model, our section part. We're going to, first of all, we got to know, is it a percent, is it a markup, a markdown, or is it just a percent? And remember, in a markup like interest or taxes or something like that, you're going to add the percent to the original. If it's a markdown, you're going to take it away like a coupon, something you don't have to pay anymore. To find the percent of the number, we're going to change it to a decimal and multiply. Okay, so let's just take a look here. Oh, did I go the wrong way? No, I didn't. Okay, it says a sweater is priced at $42.99, but on sale for 30% off. What is the price of the sweater? Okay, so it's on sale, sale price, it's on sale. So we're going to say this is a markdown. It's not going to cost full price. It's going to be less than full price. So if I put 42.99 right here and 100%, okay, I can tell you right now, that's going to be a pain in the butt doing 42.99 divided by 10. 4.299 for each one of these sections. Okay, nope, we're not going to do that this time. Okay, we're not going to use this scale. What we are going to do is we're going to change our percent to a decimal. So here's the work for that. 30% or 30.0% if you want to think of it that way so you can see the decimal place. I'm going to move it 2 spots to the left. My new decimal is 0.300, or you don't really need these zeros here, 0.3. So I'm going to change my 30% to 0.3. I'm going to multiply it by 42.99. Now that doesn't tell me what the sale price is. That tells me what 30% of 42.99 is. Okay, 40% of what, or sorry, 30% of what 42.99 is. And when I multiply it, I get 12.897. 12.897. All right, now that's not my answer. That's 30% of 42.99. Now we decided that this is a markdown. So what we need to do is find the actual sale price. So we're going to take our 42.99 and we're going to take off the part we don't have to pay, 12.897. And so what we're going to do is get an answer of 30.093, or we always round our cents up, $30.10. So that's 30% off of the $42.99. $30.10. Okay, let's try another one here. It says in a survey of 400 people, 42% reported pizzas as their favorite meal. So let's just, if I wanted to even try this and we had 400, I could divide 400 evenly pretty well. That wouldn't be a problem. So we could do by 40s, 0, 40, 80, 120, all the way up. But the problem is, if I'm trying to find 42%, it's going to be like somewhere like right here. How are we going to know what number that is? It's going to be really hard to figure out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the whole diagram thing again. We're not doing that this time. And what we're going to do is, first of all, we need to decide, is it going to be a mark up, a mark down, or are we just going to find the percent of 400? Well, in this case, it just asks us how many people like the pizza. So we don't have to do a markup or a markdown. We just need to know 42% of 400. So I'm going to start with my 42%. I'm going to change it to a decimal, or 42.0%. I'm going to move it twice, 0.420, or I can just write 0.42 is just appropriate as well. Take my 0.42, and I'm going to multiply it by the original, 400. This is going to tell me what 42% of 400 is. And in this case, it's 168. And that's it. There's no markup, there's no markdown. It doesn't say, well, they get a discount, nothing like that. 42% of the 400 is 168. So 168 people like pizza, or as their favorite meal. Okay, and that's it. So it's much quicker. You don't have to make a huge diagram or anything like that. So once again, I'm saying, let's forget that. We're not doing that anymore. That's too much work. It says the bill at dinner came $43.76 before tax. Okay, tax tells me that we're going to have a markup. So it's going to cost us even more with tax. If 6.5% tax is added to the bill, there's another keyword, added to the bill, what will the final total be? So I'm going to take my percent, 6.5%, and this is really important. Take it, I'm going to move it twice. That 0 in front of the 6 is very important. This guy, he matters. So I need to have him on there, 0.065 times my total, 43.76. And when I put that in my calculator here, 2.8444. All right, 2.8444. That's 6%, 6.5% of 43.76. But that's what they're going to add on to our bill as tax. So we need to take our 43.76 and we're going to add on our 2.8444. And when I add that in my calculator, it says 46.6044, and that's going to be my total bill. But we wouldn't really round it like that. We would just do 61 cents. And if you've ever bought gas at the gas station, you know they always round up the cent to the nearest next cent. So $46.61. All right. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do this one in class. And so if you want to try it right now, I'll give you a hint. We are going to have here, she is making interest. So once again, we have a markup. I'm going to go ahead and change the decimal place for you. 0.062 and times 1275. And I'm going to see if you can figure out what the next part of the answer is, and that'll be part of the notes that I check. Since it's a markup, this number will have to be added to the original amount. All right. And so that's for tomorrow. And hopefully you know how to calculate percents now.